Hello! God, this feels weird. So I thought the best way to kind of get back into YouTube was just to do an informative video about what makeup products I love at the moment. Kind of just what's in my makeup bag, what I've been using the most recently, and why you might want it in your life as well. So let's get started. So I'm basically just using makeup straight out of my weekend makeup bag, and for primer I always like to use Smashbox primerizer. Tend to take 3 pumps ish into my hands and work it into my skin. I find my makeup goes on top of it a lot smoother, and you know, say it's about 11 o'clock right now. I applied my moisturiser at 8 in the morning, so it just adds that hydration back into the skin. So for foundation, I struggled to pick one to recommend to you guys, but overall in summer with a bit of a tan, I like Estee Lauder Double Wear Light in bronze. I also like MAC Face and Body mixed with the Too Faced concealer I'm about to use, and NARS Natural Radiant Longwear Foundation is like probably wedding day, or this is probably wedding day status as well. So the reason why I like it is because it has the staying power of Estee Lauder Double Wear, a really infamous foundation. This is the M439 by Morphe, by the way. But it's a lot lighter, a lot dewier than the original Double Wear by Estee Lauder, which is why it's kind of perfect for like events. That's why I call it the wedding day foundation, because it gives you coverage, but it's a lot more skin-like than the original. It's got like a light to medium coverage. And like I said before, sometimes I mix the Too Faced concealer, the multi-use concealer, in with MAC Face and Body. I'm going to do that now just to show you the technique, and I also feel like I need a little bit more coverage. So I'm just taking sand, and I normally just dot it on my cheeks and a tiny bit down my nose, and a tiny bit of mocha. Just a touch to take away that yellowness of the sand. I mostly need the coverage in my cheeks, a tiny bit round my nose, and in the centre, kind of between my brows. And I'm using pushing motions so that I don't get too many streak marks. And whatever's left on my brush, take it down the neck and on your ears. What I then do is take my damp beauty blender and just literally roll it over the surface of the skin. And this just takes away any excess product that you don't need. That makes it look like there's foundation kind of sitting on your skin. I especially like to do this in the middle of the brows. Oh, I just swore at you there. Sorry. Like that. And you can see there's like a very light tint to my beauty blender where excess foundation has come off. Now for concealer, I'm going to take the exact 2 same ones, and I'm going to take Mocha first. And this is slightly too dark for my skin. Any concealer slightly darker than your skin tone will work for this. I prefer using this over correctors. So what I do is I just concentrate it in the inner corner where I get the most darkness, and most people get the most darkness. And then I take the lighter shade sand and just take this slightly further under the eyes, and also around the nose where people get hormonal redness the most. And then all I do is blend it out with a beauty blender. And I really think less is more when it comes to concealer. I've never been a fan of wearing a lot of concealer under my eyes, because I feel like when you cover up so much of your face with concealer, it completely changes the colour, the texture of your foundation, and it no longer does its job of just concealing under eyes and blemishes. And doing this technique of concentrating it in the inner corner with slightly darker concealer just allows you to use a lot less product. I personally love a cream blush such as the Glossier Cloud Paints, but today I'm using Firewall by Limecrime. Mine looks really grubby. This is amazing on all skin tones. I guarantee all skin tones can use this. And I just take it on a fluffy brush and push it into my cheeks. And I like using a fluffy brush. You wouldn't think this would work that well on creams, but it really diffuses the product and I literally don't have to do any work. And I'm stamping the product, I'm not sweeping because it's a cream and I haven't set my foundation and I do not want it to move. I always like taking a little bit over the nose, just in summer to give you that kind of sun-kissed look. I always like to go a little bit heavier with cream blush as well, because once you've powdered, bronzered, highlights, it kind of all fades, to be honest. So for powder, because I travel on the weekends to see my boyfriend, I've always been using the Laura Mercier translucent powder just because the size is super convenient. However, recently I tried the Born This Way translucent powder and the ethereal loose setting powder, and I've really enjoyed actually. So I just take my beauty blender and I tap out any creases. Then I stay looking up and kind of grab some powder. I'll stay looking up as much as possible. And then I pat it in my hand to distribute the powder. And then I press it under my eyes. The reason why I tap it into my hand is that it spreads the powder more evenly on the beauty blender rather than going straight in from powder to your eye, because often that's just gonna stick a clump of powder onto wet concealer. But if you distribute it evenly in your hand, it creates a much finer layer of powder over your beauty blender that you can really press into your skin. And I don't really tend to powder anywhere else. Sometimes I put a little bit of powder under here, but it's just mainly my T-zone. Now for bronzer, I really like using the Morphe M500, yep, and the Bobbi Brown bronzing powder in Deep. And I'm actually going to use a slightly different brush today because I feel like this one's a bit dirty, but we'll see. This is a Morphe R7. You need to go quite light-handed with it because it is pretty dark and it's quite warm tone, so it's quite red. And I like this because this kind of mimics a more natural tan rather than it being too cool toned or too orange. And my temples. The reason why I like this brush actually is because is that it's so flimsy that it's really hard to over apply. It just kind of softly diffuses the powder everywhere. I always make sure to get my chin and my jaw area. The reason why I do this is because a lot of the time once I've applied my foundation and concealer and all of that, this area, if this is too light, you can really tell the difference between your chest and your face if there's a discoloration. If I'm in a rush, I'll just take it roughly like this on the tip of my nose. I will contour my nose, but I always do that after highlighting. I'll tell you why. So for highlighter, I really like the Charlotte Tilbury Glowgasm Beauty Light Wand in Goldgasm, and I keep this locked because what's in the tip sponge is always enough and I never need to squeeze out more. And to be honest, I do not really like the packaging of this. I find it just really inconvenient, to be honest. If you have lighter skin, I'd stick to the original, and if you have my skin tone and deeper, then go for this one. But the original is a beautiful shade, and I always just use my foundation brush to tap this in. This is an old collaboration with Desi and Katy, but I really only use a tiny bit. And I always make sure I connect it up to the brow bone. And after powder highlighter, I always go over it with my beauty blender to make the, oh, I've got hair everywhere, yo. To really make that powder not sit on the surface of your skin. Now for my nose highlighter, it's a bit extra that I have a highlighter for my nose and a highlighter for my cheeks, but it is what it is. And I use the Amrezy ABH highlighter on a Morphe Correction Zoeva 237. Really precisely draw a line in the centre. This isn't going to work for everyone. I like it on myself, but it's just a lot of trial and error to find out what you like in a nose highlight and contour, to be honest. It can be very hit or miss, to be honest. And then for the contour, I either use that Bobbi Brown one, which I previously showed you, or I like to use Hoola Caramel. And I take this on a NARS brush. This doesn't have a name on it, but it looks like this. And I take a bit, tap it, and then because I've now got a highlight, it's almost a guideline to where I can contour. Because if I contour without my highlight, I'm just contouring the normal shape of my nose. I'm not contouring what I want to look like, a thinner version. So that highlight is now my new thinner nose, if that makes sense. So I really lightly go down the sides and then push it more heavily on the tip. And in here where the brown meets the nose, I go in a little bit heavier. For eyebrows, all I do is use a gel. This is the Benefit Brow Setter. The reason why I use this is because it does hold my brows really well. I like the brush because it feels like it really combs through my brows. The formula is glossy and it's not too matte. However, through the day, if you touch your brows and start like picking out any glue or anything like that, it becomes white and piecey. So you've just got to try not to touch your brows too much or fiddle with them, because it just gets worse the more you touch them. But yeah, that's all I do for them. I think I might do my eyeshadow off camera, because day to day I literally just put bronzer through them, and I shall come back. So my eyes are done now, and now I'm going to move on to my mascara. So I just curl my lashes. For mascara, if you guys have been following me for a while, you know I love the Maybelline Lash Sensational in Waterproof. I always get asked what mascara I use, and it's this. Mine's running out, so what I've been doing is taking some L'Oreal Paradise Waterproof mascara, just dipping it in there and then dipping it back and using it. Yeah, I need to get a new mascara basically. That's my eyes done. I normally add a few faux freckles because I want to. And before I was using this product here, and it's kind of like a liquid liner but with a special formula that makes it more freckle-like rather than, you know, eyeliner. But recently I've been trying the Limecrime Sun Kissed Freckle Pen, and I do like it. It's just a lot easier. The only thing is, I do find the shade quite light, so if you have deeper skin tones, I think the Freck one that I just showed you would probably be more suitable, because you can really adjust the colour. And now onto lips. So I'm just gonna basically put on a standard glossy lip, but I will talk you through a few lip liners and products that I love. So my top lip liners that I've been loving at the moment are, actually, probably have one more, are Cork by MAC, Cocoa by Bobbi Brown, Rimmel Cappuccino, and Natural Collection Espresso. The glosses which I normally pair them with are e.l.f. Champagne Glam, Colourpop Scorcher, and I also like the SUQQU lip gloss in 02. I think today I'll use my e.l.f. and Natural Collection. They all look amazing in whatever combination you use these in. I'll go for a nice affordable option. This probably needs sharpening. And that is that. And if I'm completely honest, I do not wear setting spray ever really. If I have to put my makeup early on in the day and I'm meeting my boyfriend in the evening, I will use the Urban Decay All Nighter setting spray. This one is a mini one and I've barely gone through it because I just don't really feel the need to. My makeup lasts really nice throughout the day, and if anything I kind of like it when it looks a little bit more dewy and lived in. I always take my beauty blender and some powder, but most of the time I just rebounce on my skin just to refresh it. The beauty blender already has a little bit of powder on it anyway. I don't really need to do too much. But yeah, what do you guys think? I really love the way my skin looks. Like, obviously I've got makeup on, but it is not particularly heavy, but it covers up what I want. Let me change up this lip and see if I like it. Didn't like the other lip, so yeah, changed it back. But anyway, yes, so thank you so much for watching. This is the finished look. I hope you guys found it helpful or informative or relaxing, or aided you in spending your money more wisely, whatever it may be. Thank you for watching. Lots of love. Bye.